Oh, hey, friends, welcome. Just moving my lighting a little bit. How are you doing this July 3rd of 2024? How are you feeling today? Give me a holler in the chat box. Let me know you're here and how you're doing today. I'm just putting one of my already done pages up. It looks prettier than a blank page. If you're just joining, pop in the chat. Let me know how you're doing today. Who's here? Where are you at? How you doing? Pop it in the chat. I'm gonna sip on my coffee while I wait for you to. Oh, hey, good morning, Roberta. So happy you're here, my friend. How you feeling today? Oh, hey, Kate. So nice to see you today. Coming in hot from Southern California. Is it hot in Southern California? It's going to be hot here in the Pacific Northwest. Oh, hey, Jen. Oh, hey. We're getting a big, I'm going to call it a heat wave because you get above 85 and I'm like, no, thank you. No, thank you. Come on in. All right. So keep saying hey in the chat if you're here live with us. Um, oh, Kate, it's gray and cold here in London. Oh, you know what? I would take gray and cold over the heat wave. Roberti said, yeah, boy, it is. High 90s. Oh, I feel you, sister. Yeah, Amy also totally hating this heat wave. Yeah, I hear you. Oh, so this month of July, we're going to explore the theme of connection. And if you're coming in, please do say hello in the chat. Love to see who's here, how you're feeling today. But we're going to explore connection. As with most of the themes that I choose, there's so many layers to this theme. So for me, what I would like to do is I'd like to invite us into leaning into self connection today in our page today. Self connection, because we could talk about connection with others, connection to things we're working on, connection to nature. I am bringing in some nature today though, because how can I not? Um, but I do want to think about the connection with ourselves because that's where everything begins. That is where everything begins. So today's page, I'm titling Self Connection Landscape. Hey, Anne, I'm so happy you're here today. Hot in North Cali, too. 107. Woohoo! Goodness. Goodness. Yep, it's July. So today, we're going to use our. Look at all the California people here today. All my hot California people. Marjorie, hey, hi. Not yet hot Southern California, but in a few hours, different story. Just wait. Welcome. So we're going to be using, if you've got a Cosmic Smash book, cool. You don't have to have one. You can have a regular journal. The beautiful part of doing these intentional creativity processes is we can use whatever we have on hand. Doesn't have to look a certain way. So even if you have sheets of paper, beautiful, beautiful. I've got nearby my like watercolor set. I like using and playing around with just like these really cheap ones. They're fun. And I use a bunch of them. And so I love it. I enjoy it. Um, I've also got my glue stick and I've got magazines nearby in case I decide I want to do some collage. And then I always have my Tombow markers handy. So I recommend paper and some kind of coloring goodies because we're going to be doing some journaling too. And then afterwards, we're going to do some creation. So we can use some watercolors. I love acrylics, but unless you've got something that can help you dry it quickly, I kind of shy away from those in these smaller sessions. But if you got a hairdryer, bring out the acrylics. Okay, so that's what we got. Oh, hey, Audrey, welcome. Also in a cold gray London. All right, so self-connection. That is what we're exploring today. And when I say that, self-connection, what comes up for you? What do you feel? Is there a feeling in your body that happens? Is there just an overall thought that comes up when I talk about? We're going to dive into some self-connection reflection. Say that 3 times. What comes up for you? Share in the chat box. When I'm like, we're going to go for an adventure with some self-connection. How's that make you feel? Personally, I get excited because I always love using intentional creativity to dig deeper. I love it. And air conditioning is such a blessing. I hear that. Roberta, you said being in full alignment with myself. Yes. And what is possible when you're in full alignment with yourself? And if you missed the first inquiry, I'm asking, how does it feel when I say we're going to explore self-connection? What comes up for you? Pop that in the chat box. Jen, you said being comfortable with you. Yes. Yeah, for sure. Roberta, what is possible? Absolutely anything that is meant for me. Yes. Yes. I love being in the land of possibility. And before I went live, I pulled a card from the Modern Nirvana Oracle deck. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's kind of long, but I was like, hey, what gets to be brought into the mix of self-connection? And I pulled the Modern card, which I've never received before. But long story short, the Modern card is saying it's actually a lot about technology and how technology can be deemed not good for us. And also there's also team technology is amazing. But the card is inviting us that we can carry both. We can be really mindful how we use technology, and we can also embrace the resources that it provides for us. So I don't know what this means for you in terms of self-connection, but it's an interesting thing to throw in the mix of how does technology play a role in your self-connection? Does it pull you away from connecting with yourself? Does it support you? Does it do both? And so the card said, the Modern card is here to remind you to choose wisely and use the resources available to you with discretion, mindfulness, and loving awareness. And the mantra is, I can emerge ancient wisdom with, I can merge ancient wisdom with the modern world. I can be a sage of technology while also being attuned to the lessons in nature and the intelligence of Mother Earth. I just thought that was a really interesting card to come up because I think I hear a lot of people talk about technology being a distraction. And also, we're using technology right now in such a beautiful way, right? So there's no good or bad here. It's just more asking us how it's playing a role in our life, how we're using it. So do what you will with that message. I just thought it was an interesting card in terms of self-connection. So, okay, let's hop in. I'm going to go to a fresh page. Fresh page. I'm at the very end of my book, y'all. I got like 3 pages left. Here we go. I'm at the bitter end. No, it's not bitter. It's beautiful. So my first invitation is we're going to just ground ourselves because I'm going to do a little guided visualization, but it's going to be very brief, nothing deep. So no worries. I'm not taking you down a rabbit hole, but we are going to do some expansion with visualization. So my invitation is to close your eyes, whatever you feel comfortable with. If you want to put your hand on your heart, and I'd like to just take some grounding breaths first. So whatever came before this moment, anything that could be pulling you away, speaking of distractions, from being present in this moment, let's take a breath in and release. And this second breath is for us to be present here with each other. Even though we cannot see each other, we are most definitely in an energetic space with each other. Being present to what people post in the chat doesn't mean you have to respond, but just witnessing. And also, like, what would it take for you to be visible in the chat? Like, is maybe that something that would serve you today? So let's take a breath in and release anything that would stop us from showing up today. And this final breath is to open our hearts, open our minds, not to make assumptions of like, this isn't going to work, this is silly. Just allow yourself to be open in this next hour, to receive, to be curious. So we're parking the judgment. Let's take a breath in and release. All right. And I'd love for you to keep your eyes closed. And if you feel more comfortable with your eyes open and you want to do more of a soft gaze, please do what works for you. I would love for you to imagine you're in a landscape that feels like home. A landscape that feels like home. What does that look like? Look around this landscape. What do you see? Notice the details. Any colors, any movements, any smells, any sounds. Are you near water? Are you in the forest? What are some natural elements around you? And just take a moment to be there and really receive what this is offering you. And is there an element in this landscape that you feel an instant connection to? Perhaps it's a tree. Perhaps it's an animal. Is there something present that you're drawn to, that you feel safe with? Even if you don't understand it, lean into how it feels. And if you don't see anything, use your imagination. What do you think feels like home? And take another look around this landscape, keeping your senses open, really pulling in what you can. Inviting in ease and peace, connecting into what home feels like. This landscape is the reflection of how you connect with yourself and what are the things that are present to you. Let's move our body, maybe wiggle our toes or our fingers, just to come back to our page. Okay, I like to touch my page. The wrinkly papers grounds me. And I would love for us to just spend a few minutes journaling about your landscape. Where were you? What was around you? Were there any messages or symbols that came through for you? Let's spend a few minutes. I'm just going to use my marker journaling. There was a central image in your landscape, like I had a tree. I'm inviting you to make sure that you write that down. There was a large tree that was the central, like, grounding point in my landscape. My next inquiry is, was there any elements that didn't feel like they fit together? Was anything kind of pushing against each other? Were there turbulent waters? Was there anything that didn't feel like it belonged? I'm inviting you to write that down. Or you didn't understand how it fit? Were there any symbols, feelings? Did you have an emotional reaction to anything that was in your landscape? And I'm going to write an inquiry for my page. And if there's something else that it comes up for you, please always follow your heart, follow what your inner knowing is leading you to. My inquiry is, how does my landscape reflect my self-connection? I'm going to write, show me, support me. You write whatever little mantras come up for you. Guide me. Heal me. Love me. And if you've got some other ones, pop it in the chat. So we did our journaling. We did an inquiry. If you're doing a different inquiry, pop it in the chat. I'm curious what inquiry you're going with. I'm looking from a marker top. Disappeared. Okay, I just have to be careful. Oh, just kidding. Found it. Yeah. If you're using the same inquiry as me, put that in the chat box, or let me know what inquiry you're using. Amy, you said, no surprise for me, went to Orkney with Ginger next to me on the beach. I love that. I love that. And I'm just going to intuitively pick a color. I picked orange. I'm just going to move some color around, and I'm just going to stay present to whatever feelings came up for me in that landscape, just staying curious. And I'm going to attempt to do light watercolor so that I could dry fast and I could work on top. And I'm thinking about the turtle that showed up for me. What does the turtle mean for me? What showed up for you that you get to be curious about? Amy, you're going to do the same inquiry? Awesome. All right. Orange is what wanted to be on my page. So I'm curious, what landscape did you see? When you connected into what home feels like for you, what landscape came up? Was it something completely out of your imagination? Was it a place, like a familiar place? For me, it was the beachfront of the house that I lived in before I lived here, where I lived there with my husband that passed away. So it's interesting because for those of you who did a quest back to self with me, that spot also came up, I believe, during Andrea's session. So it's interesting how it's coming up for me again. Beachfront, big tree. So that's my home. That's my safety. That's where I felt most connected. So it's a lot of food for thought for me in this moment. But that's what came up for me. Jen, you said, I saw this secret garden in Manhattan that has a waterfall and an ivy-covered brick wall. Oh, it's gorgeous. That's gorgeous. Amy, you said feelings were accepted, belonging. Yes, Amy, you're in sync with me because that was my next inquiry. Was what was it about this landscape that felt like home to you? What is that connection? So it's like this landscape. What I'm imagining in this page is this landscape is like a mirrored reflection of our insides. Like when we think of being fully connected and safe and at ease, there's a representation in that landscape. And so, what do you think it is about that landscape that evokes those feelings? Kate, you said I was in my astral hive space. Oh, that sounds amazing. There are trees, grass, and a river. I love that. I love how so far those of you who have shared, water has been present for all of us. Jen, you said I felt free, happy, alive. Beautiful. Beautiful. And I feel like I'll disgrace if I try to pronounce the T word. Gentle stream flowing through cool green grass. Yeah, it's beautiful. That's beautiful. So, however you want to depict that landscape on your page, whether that is using markers, using mixed media, if you want to cut pictures out, if you want to actually paint it on, this would actually be in a time, if you wanted to use acrylic, it would actually work because we're not going to do layers unless you choose to do layers. But I would really love for you to put some kind of visual representation of your landscape on your page and bring it from mind to paper. I'm sitting and thinking how I want to do that. I think I might look in a magazine first. Might look in a magazine and see if I find any big gorgeous trees. What are you going to do? Tell me in the chat box, how are you going to visually represent your landscape on the page? Anne, you're such a queen. To Alumni. Thank you. See, that's when my perfectionist shows up and is like, oh my gosh, you can't say it incorrectly or else. Oh, our brains. Okay. I got some chicken magazines. Fun fact, I'm a chicken lady. Let's see if I could find some trees in here. Also, a turtle came up for me. Was there anything that came up for you in your landscape that you're like, huh, that's interesting? Marjorie, help me out. What are you referring to, my friend? Let's see. You said with all accented, perfectionists got to help each other too. Yes, thank you. That's right. We got to keep an eye out for each other. Oh. Yeah, so the turtle came up for me. Did anything come up for you that was like you weren't expecting, or maybe you've never seen in that landscape, if it was a landscape you've actually set foot on before? Oh yeah, Amy, that's right. You've got Orkney calendars with beautiful visual representations of Orkney. Okay, And as with the intentional creativity process, you might come across an image that doesn't look like the image that you saw, but it's evoking a feeling of similarity. And so I invite you to trust that. So, like, I didn't see this, but this to me is the feeling. It was a very similar feeling. So I'm going to trust myself and trust this process, and I'm going to cut that out. Because there is similarities. I saw my back, but I was sitting to the water, and except there was a big tree here. So I'm going to keep that aside. It's a great example of this process. Is we're not trying to replicate what we saw, but it's more of like bringing that feeling, that representation on the page. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and glue it down. I usually don't glue this fast. I usually lay out everything, but this picture really wants to be on the page. So I'm just going to trust, surrender controlling this page, and listen to myself. Just I invite all of us into. Okay, I didn't see anybody else say they got a random object or something. Nobody else got a weird random turtle? Just me? Oh, I love it. So yeah, for me right now, just sharing my experience in case this lands for any of you out there working, is right now I'm getting a lot of hits of feeling colors, and so I'm staying in what I'm feeling and not the way I think it should look, right? Because with this intentional creativity process, we're allowing our inner guide to lead. And so blue is coming up big. So I'm going to put blue on here. Okay, a parakeet just made eye contact with you right now. I love that there's just a parakeet out there flying around. So the water was really prominent for me. So I am getting blue on the page. Not worried about it looking amazing. I'm not creating a work of art. I'm staying in my feels and being curious about the elements that are coming up. And what does that have to do with my connection with myself? And when all else, if you feel like you're like not sure what's happening, just go back to your inquiry, go back to the intention of the page, just how this inner landscape is a representation of the way we connect with ourselves. And so maybe it's inviting you and reminding you what you need. Do you need the stillness? Do you need the water? Do you need the forest? Are you giving yourself enough of that space and time? I'm gonna let that dry. And maybe you want to write some of the feelings on your page. You can do that too. There's no right or wrong way to do this page. My invitation is whatever that it's going to take for you to look at this page and be like, wow, this is a reflection of how I connect with myself. That's my wish, is that this page is that mirror to how you connect with yourself. I think I'm going to draw a little turtle, because that turtle is sure not leaving my brain. So I am going to get some scrap paper and I'm going to draw a little turtle to put on my page. All right. How you doing over there? I just got my turtle going. I'm parking my perfectionist, letting her know she doesn't need to help me with my turtle. I'm doing just fine. I don't need her opinion. I'm fine. How are you doing? How's your page coming? What's coming up for you? Share in the chitty chat box. Is there anything that's like a reminder that you already knew, but it was cool to get a reminder? Are you like, I don't know what's happening? This doesn't make sense. I want the nitty gritty. Tell me the things. I'm gonna watercolor my little turtle. Okay. Y'all are quiet. Are you in it? I get it. I get it. I love that I've got this really realistic image and then I got this like little turtle guy. Awesome. Going good, Amy. Roberta, you're up in the deep mind pool. I get it, friend. Me too. I get in the deep mind pool and then I'm like, oh my gosh, there's other people working with me. Hey people, how are you doing? Are you in it too? Yes, we are in it. I love that, Jen. You're in the flow of the images. I actually love my little turtle. Let's see. Cutting him out. Thinking about the meaning of the turtle, and my inquiry when we first started was like a landscape that feels like home, and the turtle's home is always with him. Well, that's interesting. Maybe it's a reminder for me that even though I don't live in that house, I'm still at home. Amy, you said in Native American legends, the turtle is what brought people to this world and rides on the turtle's back. I love that. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. No, Anne. Said you lost your YouTube connection. No. Oh. As we are diving deep with connection, what does that mean? Yeah, I love that piece about the turtles representing home. I really do think that's what the meaning is for me. I'm going to add my little guy here as a reminder that I'm always at home with myself. And so as you're working, I'm just going to speak into some things to be curious about. Oh, wait, Anne says, my beautiful empty meadow has a castle now. Yes. I love that. Yes. Yeah, see, it's like as we start working on the page, it expands and who knows what's going to show up. But again, my invitation is to trust it. Like at first I was like, a turtle, when I was visualizing, like a turtle, what? I don't really want a turtle, because then I think, oh, is it telling me to slow down? But no, I don't think that's what it's telling me. I think it's reminding me that I'm always at home, right? I don't need to search for home. I'm at home always within myself. Yeah. So trust whatever's coming up. I think sometimes I don't think sometimes, I think all of the time, these intentional creativity processes are so potent when we allow ourselves to receive all the messages, even when they're confusing, and then kind of just sit with it and be with it and decide, like, what meaning does this hold for me, or what message is it trying to remind me of or tell me? And it doesn't mean it's going to come through. It might come through tomorrow, next week, next month. But inviting curiosity in is always a bonus. Good. I'm glad your internet connection is more stable today, Amy, so you can stay for the whole thing. I love that. So a few inquiries as you're working on your page to just be thinking about ways to use your page moving forward is just looking at, like, is there anything that you feel like you get to work on? Is there something that the landscape is reflecting back to you that you get to do some work around, personal growth stuff, like with yourself? Is it a reminder? Like, is there something about being out in nature, being in the water, even if you don't live in a place with access to natural water? It's like, does it mean you get to be in the shower, the bath, or like what kind of water experience can you create? Just being curious about the elements that show up and how do those elements play a role in how you connect with yourself. I am someone who desperately needs to be around water for my sanity. If you believe in astrology stuff, I'm a triple fire. So water is very, very grounding for me. So it's no surprise that sitting and facing the water is where I feel at home, where I feel peace, where I feel at ease. So just being curious about the elements and the roles that they play. And again, in the visualization, I was like, is there anything that doesn't feel like it quite fits? Or is there something that feels a little like a disruption in this landscape? Like, is that something that needs tending to in your real life, in your physical realm kind of life? So just being curious. Like, I think I want to add the tree. The tree was a very prominent. Trees are very, I mean, yes, they're very grounding, but trees always have played a really important role for me. Thank you. Thank you. I was like, oh, can I draw this turtle so it looks like a turtle? And then I was like, just have fun and draw a damn turtle. Don't try to get it right. It's a turtle. You can see it's a turtle. He's cute. He's on the move. He's got a little smile. He's got my back. Like my back is facing him. He's got me. So I love that little guy. Thank you, Jen. So I'm curious. I know y'all are still in it, and I don't want you to feel rushed at all, because even after this call is over, you can definitely be working on your page. I feel like my page is like wants me to pause and just kind of be with it and make a decision if I want to add a tree or not. But I'm kind of amazed that I found this image that is such an accurate depiction of how I felt in my landscape. Is kind of wild. So I'm curious if you want to share any feelings, like any, how does your landscape page feel? How is it supporting you in this moment? And really, how can you use this page to support you in maintaining that deep connection with yourself? Roberta, you're feeling like it's super potent. I love that. Mine too. Mine's so peaceful. I just keep staring at it. It's just so peaceful. And so I keep reminding myself, wow, this is a reflection of how I feel with myself. At ease, trusting, safe, coming back home to myself. There's so much here. It's going to take me a while to like break it all down. As it does, it's just like, I feel really just at ease with this page. And I think it's a good reminder of like, for those of you who feel at ease and peace, that's truly the core of how you feel with yourself. Jen, you said yours is reminding you to get outside, which is hard for me, especially in summer, but I need to get out and spend some time with myself. Yes. I love that, Jen. I love that. Yeah, for sure. And, inviting us to create possibility, even if we think it's like a small thing, right? Because sometimes we can create a really powerful moment with ourselves, and it doesn't have to be a big deal. It doesn't have to be like taking the full day off or having a spa day. Like all those things are glorious. But like, I think we get to find like just what's good enough in this moment. And starting small, like, oh, can I be outside for 10 minutes today? In the power of small pieces of movement. Ones. Don't dismiss the small. Like I've shared with some of you, I am like, I don't know if I'm going to get away on a vacation or anything this year. And so I invested in a 10-foot inflatable pool, which I love. All the advertisements are for children. And it's like, when you're done with your swimming pool, you can use it for a ball pit inside your house. And I'm like, hi, I'm going to be 46 years old and I just got a 10-foot inflatable pool. But you know what? On really hot days, it's going to be so nice to just sit and be. And so I'm finding the possibility right now, right? I'm not waiting to find my peace or to cool off when I go to a swimming pool or to the beach. I'm going, how can I create it in my life right now? What's realistic for me right now? And not waiting for things to get easier or to have more time or space or money, but like, how do we find possibility right now? That's also an invitation. Lots of invitations for us today. And you said mine is reminding me to find some quiet time each day. Yeah. Yeah, my page is very still, very still. And I'm a big mover. So that is same. And when am I having quiet time in my day? In my pool, in my inflatable pool. Yeah. So that is the final inquiry, is whatever messaging is coming through for you. And it's okay if nothing's coming through right now. Sometimes it takes time. Is how do you find possibility to create this, embody this vibe right now in your life with the resources that you have? How is that possible? Roberta, you're saying, mine is saying nature. The elements is what I need to live my best life. Being in alignment with this energy that I already possess, the tapping into part is really where the potency lies. I love that. That is beautiful. That is scrumdiddlyumptious, my friend. Yeah, lots of like getting back to nature, going back to nature, which is no surprise. It's no surprise, y'all. And again, how do you, because like I know some of you live in big cities, but it's like, how can you create that possibility? Because I think it's so important to keep that connection with ourselves. Because this world is so big and busy and full, and we get lost in it sometimes, which is why I really wanted to start this month of themed connection with ourselves, because that's where everything starts. Okay, we're getting to the top of the hour. Is there any other shares? I'd love to witness any other shares about your page. Ooh, Jen, they have an Instagram page for the Secret Garden. Oh, that's so fun. That's so fun. Okay, I'm gonna share some links in the chat. I am gonna share, hold on, let me find my links. I know a lot of you are already aware, but for my new friends that aren't, I want to share in the chat box the link to my Storytellers and Wild Creatives Facebook group. It's where, if you're new to doing this Cosmic Smashbooking workshop with me, it's where I invite you to come and share your page so that I could visually see what you created and maybe any ahas. So I put the link to Storytellers and Wild Creatives. When you feel like you're at a spot on your page and you want to share, no peer pressure, but if you feel like sharing, I'd love for you to go into the Facebook group and just share, like, hey, and put, this is what I created on the YouTube workshop with Sage, and I'm going to share mine too. I'm going to let it sit. I might put it in the sunshine. I like to do that. I know that I share that often, but I do like to put my pages under sunshine, under moonlight, and I just put my finger in the blue still wet. It's got to dry. Can't do anything else yet. And then I also wanted to share one more thing, is today I opened up the doors to my free workshop, Idea to Outline. It's for folks who want to write books. So if you're somebody who would like to write a book and you'd like some support, if you don't know where to start, if you started but you feel stuck, highly recommend Idea to Outline. Like, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I've legit had hundreds and hundreds of writers go through this workshop. And it's so potent. So it's free, and it's from July 15th, I believe, till the 19th. Is that 5 days? So I'd love to have you join. The link is in the chat box. It's called Idea to Outline. It's absolutely free. Stop it, Anne. I didn't even think about that. Tonight is a crescent moon, like in your photo. See. And if I would have been like, but I didn't see this in my vision, I wouldn't have put it in there. But it's trusting the process, and it's just like stuff comes together when you surrender and just trust the process. I promise. Even if you have no idea, even if you're like, what's this turtle want? I always enjoy my time with y'all. Thank you so much. And I really do hope that you go share your page. You just can't make it up, Anne. You seriously can't. I know. It's like, how long have I been doing this? Just like, how long have you been doing this? And we still get surprised. We still get surprised. So it looks like the first Wednesday in August is August 7th. So if you're in the Facebook group, I'm always posting reminders. If you're on my newsletter, I'm always posting reminders. But if you're a calendar person like me, then maybe you want to put August 7th, 9 a.m. I have no idea what the theme is going to be. I'm a planner, but I like feel into like, ooh, okay, I just finished up a quest back to self. What feels like a good theme to explore after going through that experience? So a lot of the themes are like, what am I currently working on? Maybe somebody else would like to work on them. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's session. I love having you here. I love that you took time out of your day to be here and be in space with each other. And you gifted yourself this time and this work. I think this work is really potent. And I always encourage you to continue to look at your page, even after, days after, weeks after. I thought about, what if I did a call, like a Zoom call, where we just brought our pages, even if they're really old, even if they're like years old, and we just like went back through our pages and pulled out like the messaging, and just to see like, oh my gosh, I did this page a year ago and this is what's happening right now. Those are the things I think about in my shiny object brain. So I really appreciate you all. I hope you'll come share. And if not, it's okay. I appreciate you no matter what. And thank you for exploring self-connection. I hope you got some juicy nuggets that you could take with you and really be with, and, explore how you get to go deeper, because you're a bad mama jamma. I think you're rad, and I want you to live your best life. So you're welcome, my friend. I love y'all. And I'll see you later.